This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you as live as it can be from Honolulu, Hawaii, overlooking Greater Oahu. The lead stories are the FCC has blocked China Mobile from operating in the United States. The Amazon.Echo kids may be violating child privacy laws. Hackers have broke into the top 3 antivirus companies in the United States. Robot butlers, operated by humans, may be in our future. I want to welcome you to episode 1366 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, May 9th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You too can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. I want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners, for folks that have checking the show out for the very first time. I want to thank them for being part of our family here. I am still absolutely fighting a massive head cold. I might be slightly on the other side of it, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So if I cough on you, I apologize, but I'm going to try not to. But if you're brand new to the show, make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. And when you're on the website, just get subscribed to the show. You can via the Apple Podcasts on Android, via email, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, or use the standard RSS feed that powers it all. Of course, check out our newsletter as well. The newsletter contains everything that I basically talk about during the show. You'll get an email immediately following the show with all the links to all the show notes. It's a great way to stay connected and also be reminded there's a new show available for you to listen to or watch. And so for all of you that are longtime viewers of the show, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family, being part of the Ohana. And of course, you can watch the show on the Apple TV. You can listen on Blueberry.com. You can listen on your smart home device by saying the keyword to launch that device and say, play the podcast, Geek News Central. We are live. We're live at live.geeknewscentral.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. And of course, we're on Mixer all at the same time. You can always participate in our chat room. Our chat room is open 24/7. So even when you watch the show in replay, you can do that. So take time to go over to live.geeknewscentral.com. And yes, I'm trying to suppress. with the little... Holy crap. Yes, that's what I'm fighting. And again, you can listen on Blueberry.com and join our chat room at geeknews.chat. It's a Mastodon chat server. It's available for you to hang out. Of course, you can join our Slack channel as well. Just send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, that's the best way to stay in contact with me and to leave comments about the show. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Geek News as well. Follow on Facebook. I'm always updating over there, things that are going on. But more importantly, our partner shows, which are all linked to Geek News Central, include GNC Week in Review, The Gadget Professor, The Pro Gear Site, The New Media Show, and Podcast Legends. You can always pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. This show is the longest running continuous sponsor of podcasts after our good friends at GoDaddy.com. And really, the way for you to lock in savings is simple. All you got to do is visit geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And when you're over there, grab one of my promo codes, whether it be 30% off a new product purchase, a 99cent.com and a new or transfer for new customers, $1 a month economy hosting. Now listen, $1 a month economy hosting with a free domain, or $12 for the first year. $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year. That also includes a free domain. 1 month free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. Now, as a reminder, these promo codes keep this podcast online, keeps me independent, and keeps the writing team employed. You are supporting a small team of independent content creators by using one of our promo codes. You will support us in that effort anytime you share that code, link to the website, tell your friends, remind people that this is a great opportunity to become an independent online source of content, news, even if you don't even want to do like a news or podcast. Really, it's a beautiful thing when you can have your own site, give a site to a kid. Mother's Day is like, whoa, right around the corner. So you don't know what to give mom? Buy a domain name for mom. Get a website for her. Put some family pictures up there. Put it behind a password so that it just says anybody could go in and preserve those moments online. So definitely check all my deals out. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Again, I want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here and supporting this podcast. All right, everyone, let's get you caught up. I'm drinking water with ginger in it tonight. And been to the doctor. At this point, it was too bad. So today I made an appointment, went in and saw him, and he's not convinced I have an infection, even 9 days into it. So, yes, he sent me home with Flonase and telling me to continue to do everything that I'm currently doing. And saline washes, I'm doing Dayquil, NyQuil, I'm taking an antihistamine that you have to sign for across the counter, and ibuprofen, just to keep my head on so I can actually do something. So I think, though, I don't know. It's like in the morning, I'm great till up to about noon, and then it just hits me, and I'm kind of like done for a couple of hours. So I have to go through this routine to try to get my head on right. But I've never had. I can't. Told the doc, I said, listen, I don't get sick, and nothing like this has hit me, and I can't even remember when. So the vitamin C, it's been bad. So, but anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about the show, and but Rick, thanks for checking in on Facebook. Appreciate it. So there is only 2 live video shows left in the studio for Geek News Central. 2. We are down to the wire here. It's really, and I'm stressing just a little bit about that too, so I'm sure that's not helping things. But this weekend, I will be packing everything in here that can be packed. The cabinets behind will be empty. So you'll basically, by the time I do the next show, almost all this should be clear. We're only going to have the 2 monitors, the back walls, the back cabinet should be empty. And I have to decide this weekend whether or not I'm going to do a live show with Rob. I think I'll be able to. So I'll do a live show next Saturday with Rob for the new media show, and then finish everything up. Finish tying everything up. Storage room or storage, my storage locker got emptied yesterday. Got that all up here, and it's in the garage. And so I have to sort through that over the weekend as well to kind of consolidate and get it packed and ready to put on the trailer. And then really, once I get this done, and Saturday after the new media show, then really what ends up happening is lights come down, they get packed up, all the cables. So what's going to be kind of interesting is, because I'm going to have as much stuff really kind of put away as possible, when I get down to the end of it, everything that will go in one box will be truly the cable setup. So I'll be able to isolate all that stuff into probably a box or 2. And then the plan is the 3 cameras here, one of my other high-end cameras, the TriCaster itself, the TC1, and what else? Anything else that's really high value, that I'm actually going to ship. So that will go to FedEx next week, and I'll get that out of here. That way, and probably the iMac will probably be shipped FedEx as well. But I'm going to ship everything that is like would really, really hurt me, and I'll insure it, it'd be really, really hurt me if the shipment was lost, if we had an accident with the container. So some of the stuff, the essentials, will get to Michigan quickly, but it's just going to sit there because everything it needs to make it work will be, 21 or 25 days behind. So that's kind of the plan. But I will be doing an audio show, not live. I don't know how many episodes I'll be able to knock out the following week, because really, if we look at the calendar of the way things are going, so this is the 9th of May. We're going to do a show on the 13th and 16th. Then I start packing up really on the 20th. The trailer arrives on the 20th. So there's 20, 23, 27, and 30. There's 4 shows that would be audio only here in Hawaii. No video, nothing live. So that will probably, if everything goes right, I'll be able to do all 4 of those shows. And then I'm going to plan, I have a thing I'm doing for a buddy of mine on the 31st. And then after that's done, we run to FedEx with everything. And then I'm planning on being on an airplane on the 1st. So that would mean landing in Michigan on the 2nd. We'll have to see if I do a show on the 3rd. But again, it'll be audio only for a while. The TriCaster Mini will catch up with me relatively quickly. So we'll see. Maybe I'll jury rig something in the barn or something. Maybe we'll have a little fun with it before the studio is ready for occupation. But the time is just going fast. And so everyone is here as we're making plans for adjustments and moving bedrooms around and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So it's going to be, as this stuff loads out, it's going to be a busy last couple of weeks. So anyway, that's that. And let's get you caught up. Let's get into the content. Again, your support of the sponsor is greatly appreciated. Anything you can do to send some business over there, link over there, post in your Facebook page with the link to the GoDaddy page. It's greatly appreciated. All right, here. I actually got extra water in a jug because I about ran out of water on the last show because I'm just trying to keep the cough suppressed while I'm doing the podcast. So let's talk about the FCC blocking China Mobile from operating in the United States over national security concerns. They unanimously, now, very bipartisan group, right? They unanimously denied China Mobile's application to provide telecommunication services. The move represents a significant escalation in the slow-building conflict between U.S. and China over telecommunications trade, and comes at a crucial time when the U.S. and China is negotiating. And I think, I guess I should bring up a news site. I heard that new tariffs were going on, and so the United States laid on $200 billion of targeted $200 billion worth of goods in the latest tariff round. So things are heating up. I understand the strategy. We have to do something. So we'll see what happens with this. But from a security standpoint, not a economic standpoint, from a security standpoint, from a national security objective, China could use their networks and their technology to spy on Americans. You know, China is seen as the country to beat in deploying the next generation of wireless infrastructure. So China's mobile application, which has been on the boards, believe it or not, since 2011. So they've had this application in for 8 years. So the previous administration and finally this administration made a ruling on it. And told them no. The FCC says China Mobile USA is indirectly and ultimately owned and controlled by the Chinese government. It's a subsidiary of global telecom giant China Mobile Limited. U.S. officials saw a risk that China Mobile would comply with government espionage requests or that information about U.S. communication networks and users could be exploited. There are also concerns that Chinese government officials could use its access to U.S. networks to block or interfere with communications traffic should an issue arise between the two countries. And after consultation with intelligence community, executive branch agencies, they concluded those risks couldn't be resolved through a voluntary mitigation agreement. Mitigation agreements require a baseline level of trust between two parties, which does not exist in this case. So I think this is the right move, to be honest with you. I really, really do. At the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, there's a new FTC complaint that's alleging that the Amazon Echo Kids is violating child privacy laws. It's been reported that Amazon employees may listen to your Alexa conversations. This time, they have to do with how the company stores data collected by its Echo Kids. Now, why anyone would buy one of these for a kid makes me really go, But today, a coalition of privacy and child advocacy groups plans to file a complaint with the FTC alleging that Amazon stores kids' conversations and data even after parents' attempts to delete it. And this is according to the Wall Street Journal. The group is asking the FTC to investigate. And we know that Echo Kids has been on the market for about a year and is a Alexa smart speaker with supposed parental controls and family-focused features. Researchers from the Campaign for Commercial-Free Childhood and Institute for Public Representation, a public interest law clinic at Georgetown University, found that the device collects transcripts of voice recordings and other use data. To delete that info, the researcher says parents must contact Amazon customer support. Now, this isn't the first time Amazon has been accused of improperly recording conversations. And we know that Google and Facebook have also been accused of listening to their users. But this is one of the first instances that deals directly with children's data. If you think, we have invited spies into our homes. I have the mute button on my devices about 90% of the time. Does that mute them? Really? We don't know, right? It's a button. We push. The box is not supposed to respond, but is it really, truly still not listening, or is it listening to everything we say? How many of you, I need to hear from you, how many of you have actually taken the bold step of not having these devices be turned on in your home? This afternoon, my daughter yesterday passed her final exam to be able to get her associate's degree. A long time going, folks. Long time. So she's not going to walk. She's going to continue on to the University of Hawaii. But my son was Amazon, or Alexa, play some party music. And it played a track of party music. So that's how much use ours kind of gets, the spur of the moment kind of things. But what do you think about this Echo Kids listening in? At the same time, hackers supposedly breached 3 U.S. antivirus companies. Source code, network access is being sold for about $300,000. So again, they're selling both source code and network access to the companies, and is providing samples that show strong evidence of the validity of the claims. Yelesi, Bogoslavskia, director of research at the Advil Intel, told ours that his company notified the potential victims of the breach through partner organizations and has also provided details to U.S. law enforcement. In March, the group known as FXMSP offered the data through a private conversation However, they claim that their proxy sellers will announce a sale on forums. This group has a well-known reputation in the security community for selling accesses to breaches, focusing on large global companies. Now imagine someone having the keys to 3 antivirus firms. What does that result in? Well, that results in very bad things happening for companies. And our computers could be compromised in a big way. So I'm looking at the stream volume. Someone said that the stream is a little bit loud. Can't see where that's happening. I apologize if it is. And I just changed a bunch of screens. That was not smart. So anyway, well, if it isn't one thing, it's another. Next thing up. So anyway, what do you think about that? Who is it? Norton? McAfee? That antivirus software's compromised? It'd be very, very bad. Everyone, let's be honest, if you could have a butler, fellas, if you could have a butler, wouldn't it be pretty cool? You know, if you could afford to have someone answer your door, take care of your clothes, you know, kind of be your personal assistant to a certain extent. You know, that's the life of the rich and famous, right? Well, maids, having maids, you know, paying for house staff, that's awesome too, right? So I can never afford that. I'll be cleaning and ironing my own stuff. But in Japan, Japanese startup Myra Robots will charge $225 a month for a remotely operated robot helper. So this is going to be, for I guess, a new industry. This robot will be able to take care of the dishes. So let me see, what's it going to be able to do? Carry a variety of household tasks, starting with emptying a washing machine and folding clothes. In Japan, most Japanese homes don't have a washing machine. If they do, it's a counter-mounted washing machine. This may sound like a simple job, but if you think about it, for a robot, it's pretty complicated. Getting a machine to fold a t-shirt requires not only an understanding of how soft materials deform when they're folded, but also ability to perceive visual cues and the mechanical dexterity to manipulate that object. And they say by replacing a robot brain with a human, they say they can sidestep these problems, although I'm sure it has its own challenges here. If all goes plans, the robots will do your laundry, will be a start. Maybe even help with cleaning rooms, cooking preparation, even a watching service for elderly. In Japan, a lot of the elderly stay with with one of their children, caring for pets or tutoring. Of course, tutoring is big business in Japan. So, Mira's going to start testing Ugo in actual homes and actual families this summer before launching the service in 2020. Targeting double-income families with children. It's basically because the working adults, they don't have time. Japan working society is very much different than working society in America. It's very long hours and late nights sometimes. So they're going to have remote operators doing all this work. And so it'll be curious to see what happens here. Maybe some of these folks that are like to be, kind of in homes and don't like to come out too much. Maybe this will be a job for them. So the robot costs about $5,000. And there was a demo of it. That pretty cool YouTube video that you can watch. And I think this has some potential here. So we'll see what happens as time goes on. if you want to review the Apollo 11 and what was accomplished there, there's a good review on space.com. And been some good movies lately, too. But a good write down, a good review from space.com. I'll have that up in the show notes as well. SpaceX, well, their broadband testing is to ramp up with the launch of a dozen satellites. Demo satellites are going to launch next week, with satellites for actual service later in 2019. And they're going to be promising 1 gig service with these satellites that they're going to have up and running potentially by 2020 or 2021. And the next batch of satellites is a really demonstration set for us to see the deployment scheme and start putting our network together. They characterize this first wave as a demonstration set with no satellite-to-satellite communication links. Depending on how the demonstration proceeds, from 2 to 6 Starlink launches could follow by the end of the year. She says SpaceX says its satellites will essentially operate as a mesh network, and they will communicate with user terminals at customers' homes, again providing 1 gig access with 25 millisecond latency, which is going to give HughesNet a huge run for the money, and I will probably be signing up for this. So we'll see where this leads. Of course, see how much it costs too, right? So exciting stuff coming out of SpaceX. If you're on a select Delta flight in the next couple of weeks, Delta is going to test free in-flight Wi-Fi. So they're going to do this on 55 domestic daily flights. The test will start on May 13th and last for 2 weeks. And they're going to allow users to do just about everything except for stream video. Delta calls the test the first step toward realizing its vision of offering free in-flight Wi-Fi, though it admits there will be likely several more phases before an actual rollout. But what's not being said is that their partner, GoGo, which provides the connectivity on Delta flights, recently reported to the SEC that just 12% of passengers used in-flight Wi-Fi in 2018, that an increase could choke a plane's bandwidth and result in slower speeds. They're facing network capacity constraints already. So if they say if airlines decide to stop charging for in-flight Wi-Fi, it's probably going to overload GoGo's ability, and they'll be behind in building out their network. So Delta has the ability to walk away from its contract with the provider in favor of one of its competitors, like Viasat. According to the filing, I'm a big Viasat fan. I really am. Disclosure, I own stock in Viasat. So we'll see what goes here with Delta. Jeff Bezos unveils a mock-up of the Blue Origin's lunar lander Blue Moon. So they give a little demo here. The Blue Moon, which can take scientific payloads and eventually humans to the surface of the moon. Bezos said his company Blue Origin has been working on the design for the lander for the last 3 years. He says this is an incredible vehicle and it's going to the moon. After unveiling a mock-up at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center, members of the press and space industry were in attendance to watch the reveal. The event opened with a video from the original Apollo 11 mission, which landed the first astronauts. And so anyway, that's what this thing looks like. Is it's a much different design than what you would expect or what you would have seen before. Much bigger than what we went to the moon with originally. And so the Blue Moon lander will be capable of autonomous navigating in space and soft landing between 3.6 and 6.5 metric tons of payload. It's capable of carrying up to 4 large rovers simultaneously, or an ascent stage, which can take off from the lander and eventually carry people away from the surface. Bezos also revealed a new engine for the lander that Blue Origin has been developing called the BE-7. He said the company will conduct its first ignition test this summer. So you got to love billionaires. and the work they do. And I must apologize if this was, if we weren't so close to leaving Hawaii, or if I wasn't so close to leaving Hawaii, I'd have stood down for a couple of shows until this head cold passed. But with me being off last week, and essentially the wrap up is happening, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. But yeah, I feel like crap. Twitter suspension for promoting terrorism drops yet again. So Twitter has released its transparency report covering July to December 2018. During a time it suspended 513,000 accounts for promoting terrorism. It said 91% of them were identified by internal systems, and the figure is 19% lower than the previous 6 months. The company suggested there's a steady decrease in terrorist groups trying to use the platform, partly due to its zero tolerance policy. It noted that in most cases, it takes actions against those accounts while people are setting them up and before they ever post a tweet. The service also suspended 456,989 counts over child sexual exploitation. That's crazy. That's a decrease of 6% from prior 6 months, and 96% of the accounts were detected using technology tools on the platform, manipulation, and spam reporting front. Twitter says the number of proactive challenges of accounts dropped by 17%. Wow. Oh, wow. Proactive challenges accounts dropped 17% first half year to 194 million. Wow. Twitter received 6,900 requests for information on 11,000 accounts from authorities across the globe, around the same number of requests as in the prior 6 months. It produced information at 56% of requests. In the U.S., the information disclosure percentage was 73%, a significant higher level. Twitter received 2,092 requests from U.S. authorities, which comprised 40% of all requests, linked to 3,860 accounts. So they're getting better at shutting some of these accounts down. The biggest news today was one that I read the article on the New York Times, and it was an op-ed. Facebook co-founder Chris Hughes threw his old partner under the bus. Now, Chris Hughes, I don't know how much stock he had, but he sold his stock in 2012. And according to the article that he wrote, he's still friends with Mark Zuckerberg. Maybe not after today's article, but he says Mark's a good, kind person, but I'm angry his focus on growth led him to sacrifice security and civility for clicks. There's no precedent for his ability to monitor, organize, and even censor the conversations of 2 billion people. He said that Mark Zuckerberg has unchecked power and that his influence is staggering, far beyond that of anyone else in the private sector or in government. He called Zuckerberg's dominion over speech the most problematic aspect of Facebook's power. With Zuckerberg holding 60% of Facebook voting shares and effectively has full control over the company. And of course, the FTC may be exploring ways to make Zuckerberg personally accountable for his leadership of the business. But Hughes left in 2007 and cast his shares in 2012. Still, he says he feels a sense of responsibility to account for the damage done. He expressed contrition over Facebook's role in shaping public discourse and his disappointment. He said, in myself and the early Facebook team for not thinking about how the newsfeed algorithm could change our culture, influence elections, and empower national leaders. My newsfeed now is almost exclusively podcast stuff. I rarely see a family link, and then I see political stuff. So this was a hard-hitting op-ed, and definitely tossed Mark under the bus, really, and basically said that the emperor needs to be enthroned. He said the government has to intervene in two fronts. The first is breaking up Facebook by forcing it to reverse its acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp and spin them out into separate companies that he believes would lead to real competition around social media and digital messaging. He says the second step is a new federal agency to protect Americans from overreach of Facebook and other companies like it, like Amazon, listening to kids' conversation. Creepy. But time is the essence to break up Facebook, he noted, and it's in the process of combining messaging across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Once that happens, it would be more difficult for the FTC to untangle them and split up the service. Facebook accepts that with success comes accountability, but you don't enforce accountability by calling for the breakup of a successful American company, Facebook's VP of Global Affairs and Communication, Nick Clegg, said in a statement. Accountability of tech companies can only be achieved through the painstaking introduction of new rules for the internet. I don't think we need new rules. I think we just need companies to play nice. What do you think about the article? What do you think about Chris Hughes and what he wrote about Mark Zuckerberg? You have to read the op-ed. It's pretty wow. And it was the most talked about article today. And even more nasty, how many of you have ever used the Ever app? Millions of people uploaded photos to the Ever app. Then the company used them to develop facial recognition tools. Then they've sold their facial recognition tools to private industry, the military, and a variety of other exclusive clients. And although they don't sell our faces, according to the folks at the company at Ever, Jacob Snow says this looks like an egregious violation of people's privacy. Jacob Snow is a technology and civil liberties attorney at the American CLU of North Carolina. He said they're taking images of people's families' photos from a private photo app and using it to build surveillance technology. Doug Ailey, Ever's CEO, told NBC News that Ever AI does not share the photos or any identifying information about users with its facial recognition customers. I'm going to tell you, you can take a picture of me and run it into any of these online facial recognition tools, and it will pop out my name. This is not complicated, folks. There's public sites you can look for people on just by having a picture. So if they've trained an AI to do all kinds of crazy stuff, it's just going to get deeper. We're going to be tracked everywhere we go. According to Canalys, Canalys, they did some research. They said North America's smartphone market plunges to 5-year low, but Samsung rallies with the Galaxy S10. So in North America, smartphone shipments or by model number, the iPhone XR 13%, Galaxy S10 6%, Galaxy S10e 6%, while 75% made up all others. The S10 device is pretty nice. I got to see one recently. And with Apple shipping 14.6 million iPhones in Q1 2019, down 19%, but maintained 40% market share overall of North America, it is helped by carrier and retail discounts on older models such as iPhone 6S and iPhone 7. Overseas, iPhone 6 and 7 are sell like gangbusters. Brand new out of the box. So overall, 36.4 million units shipped in quarter one, compared to 44.4 in quarter one 2018, with an annual growth rate of minus 18%. So I think Androids continue to make a little more inroads here as well. Uber, they've settled thousands of driver misclassification claims before their IPO, which is happening for most of you listening to the show today. They're going to be priced coming out of the market at $45 a share. I would expect that number to be much higher. But the day before here, they announced it settled with thousands of drivers over claim it misclassified them as independent contractors and they set aside $146 million to pay them off. I never really knew. Let's go switch to some space news here. I never really knew that the person that played Chewbacca on Star Wars, I didn't know who that was, but apparently he is the original Chewbacca actor was Peter Mayhew, and Peter Mayhew died on April 30th. So astronaut Nick Hague on the International Space Station honored the late actor who died April 30th in a way only astronauts can, with a photo tribute above planet Earth. And this is pretty cool. They put his picture in the gondola and took a picture. Pretty nice. And honoring Peter Mayhew, also known as Chewbacca, up here on the space station, Hague wrote on Twitter, "Thank you, Peter, for inspiring generations of explorers." Hague added a photo printout of Mayhew in full Chewbacca garb with only his head uncovered, floating in the station's cupola, which is a 7-window observation model. So he was 74, and the guy was tall. He was 7'3". Holy smokes. Crazy. I didn't know this guy was that tall. Amazing. So anyway, for those of you, the Star Wars fans, you already knew this. You're telling me, Todd, you're an idiot. How could you not know that trivia? I just don't kind of follow that stuff. Well, the dust has settled for the Google I/O Developers Conference. It's nearly over, but basically Google is trying to suck in the Nest brand. They're going to have what's called the Nest Hub Max. It's the first product under the Google Nest brand. The Hub Max is a bigger version of the Google Home Hub. It responds to the same voice commands and offers the same touch controls, but adds a Nest Cam as well. There's also some price and name changes to the Google Home Hub. It's called now the Nest Hub. They want you to convert your Nest account to a Google account. There's a number of features being added, and it really was around a lot of these devices at that conference. So anyway, I'll have a link in the show notes on that. My Nest camera, which is up here, the one in the office, will go with me to the new studio. And when it's in the new studio, I'll actually make a public feed of it, because I don't have to worry about kids walking through in underwear or something. Okay. Glass of water has about 1/4 left. Amazon sellers were hit by extensive fraud campaign. 100 accounts run by merchants who sell via Amazon were compromised by fraudsters, and they lost a lot of money. So they didn't say how much, but it was quite a bit. And when it happened for 6 months during 2018. So something that they revealed. Nike has a new app. It uses AR to measure your feet to tell your sneakers to sell you sneakers that fit. I know my Nike size, especially with certain brands or certain runs. I'm a 9.5 when it comes to their knit sneakers, which I absolutely love. But you basically hold the app, hold it and look at your foot, and it gives you the exact size you need for the specific pair of shoes you're going to have, and including the volume of how your foot will fit in that specific shoe. So it's not a one-time gimmick. Nick is integrating this into its app as a primary feature for measuring shoes, and be using it in retail stores as well. So the update should be rolling out Nike's app in July in the US, and their plans to bring the feature to Europe in the August. Android users can pay in cash on Google Play. Okay, that's interesting. What does that mean? Well, in Mexico and Japan, which are large cash societies, you can go into a convenience store and pay for a Google Play music subscription, app, add-on with cash, and it will credit your Google Play account. So again, this feature is rolling out in Mexico.
To get help with that, you'll need to give me some more information. You can do that in the Google Home app. The mic is muted.
All right. Yes. I muted. Did you guys hear Google talking to me? So anyway, so that's what's happened with the Play Store in those two countries. You'll be able to pay cash at convenience stores. Makes sense for those markets. Roku has now 29.1 million active users. I'm still a big fan of the Roku. And they did about 100.9 million in revenue, but they had about they actually lost some money. The company wound up had a loss of 10.7 million, topping the 6.9 million loss in the same period in 2018. But they feel they're in a good place. And the red ink on the ledger isn't bothering Roku's accountants, who said that 2019 will be a banner year for sales of its streaming gear and co-branded TVs. Roku claims that 1 in every 3 smart TVs sold in the U.S. is one of theirs, making it the largest smart TV platform in the country. Given the forthcoming streaming service from Disney and Apple, having a box that will run every service without exception is going to become essential. So nice to see Roku continue to grow. Hope they'll be able to turn the corner here. ZDNet is reporting nation-state actors, affiliates behind increasing amount of data breaches. Verizon's 2019 data breach investigation report highlights how nation-states and espionage are being a worry for business and their data. Cyber attacks by nation-states and party affiliated with them represented 23% of data breaches, up from 12% in 2018 and 19% in 2017. This 12th annual data breach report were based on 41,000 cybersecurity incidents and more than 2,000 data breaches. A quarter of all breaches were associated with espionage. C-level executives were 12 times more likely to be targeted of social incidents and 9 times more likely to be targeted of social breaches. Ransomware is the number 2 ranked malware type and accounts for 24% of cases. Wow. Cybercriminals were targeting cloud-based email accounts and leveraging stolen credentials. So, e-commerce breaches are on the rise. And they're saying companies should report breaches to the FBI, Internet, and the Internet Crime Complaint Center. Law enforcement can often find criminals on the dark web and through financial accounts. So anyway, there's a good report here if you want to get into this. Link will be up in the show notes, of course. Samsung sensor is paving the way for 64 megapixel smartphone cameras. That's insane resolution with what they're saying is going to be better low light capability. And Samsung's left ahead of Sony in the megapixel wars with the launch of the ISOCELL Bright GW1. And again, it's the world's first 64 megapixel sensor for smartphones. The chip, while packing more resolution than Samsung's current 48 megapixel sensor, will use the same 0.8 micrometer size pixels. So we'll see when we're going to start seeing this. Samsung said it will start mass producing sensors in the second half of 2019. While the company sells its sensors to other manufacturers, it might reserve the first 64 megapixel unit for its own Galaxy Note 10, which makes sense. So good on Samsung. Waze integrates Pandora for seamless road trip tunes. To be honest with you, why? I don't understand this. It says you won't have to flip apps between apps while you drive. I don't listen to Pandora while I drive. I use Waze, but I listen to podcasts when I drive. So, all right. Interesting. Hey, I want to bring you guys' attention to Geek News Central. The team has been really putting out some great articles. Article today, how to use IKEA trad-fry bulbs with the Philips Hues. Also, information about Android Q having a live caption feature. Of course, we've got articles about the OnePlus and some announcements on that. Talking about UK government consults on IoT security. Talking about Facebook ban dangerous individuals or organizations. So we've got lots of stuff on the website for you to review. And I'm always looking for contributors if you want to contribute. I don't have any more room for paid writers at this point. But if you would like to be a contributor to Geek News Central, I'd love to have you on board as a contributing writer. Let me know if you feel like you're up to it. All right. All right, final article tonight. Crew Dragon parachutes have failed in a recent test. Apparently, in a hearing, it was revealed that SpaceX conducted in April a parachute test that was less than optimal. NASA said the test was not satisfactory. He said in that test, one of the 4 parachutes was proactively failed to demonstrate the single-out capability of the overall system. However, he said the 3 remaining chutes did not operate properly. That caused a test sled to hit the ground faster than expected, damaging it. Industry source speaking in the background after hearing confirmed the problem with what SpaceX considered an advanced development test of the parachute system, specifically designed to measure loads within each parachute canopy. And again, one of the 4 chutes was deliberately disabled, but the other 3 did not fully open. And they said the cause of failure wasn't known yet, and they're working on it. So SpaceX has got a little bit of work to do before they're ready to put a human in one of those and rely on it to get them back safely. Okay, I'm going to wrap the show up here before I lose my voice, which is purely possible. If you're thinking about becoming an insider, this is a great month to become an insider. I truly do need your support. And I hope that you'll step up and consider becoming an insider. 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. I know 25 is a huge stretch, but $5 or $10 a month. I would hope that if you like the show, it would be worth it to you to become an insider. So consider that, please. And it's at geeknewscentral.com/insider. And, I've always said that if we could just get everybody on a $2 or $5 plan a month, the show could do some incredible things. And as we move into this new phase, I'm leaving all options on the table with the show. Revamping the show, reworking the show. We're going to be going to a new location. So lots of considerations for the show as I'm going forward. And the podcast will continue in its form for Geek News Central, but I may change the format how we do the show. But your support is greatly appreciated in that, and helping me evolve and having the tools to make that evolution happen. But support of the sponsor and becoming an insider is really a key portion of that overall plan to make that happen. So I hope that you consider that. And I do appreciate everyone's ongoing support of the show and the longtime listeners and the Ohana and those of you that are checking the show out for the first time. Thank you for being here and subscribing to the podcast. That is a critical thing. And you can now search in Google for Geek News Central Podcast. You can play it right on your Google search result. So we'll get credit for the download. Don't worry. But Google's made some changes, and audio is becoming more of a first-class citizen, which is good. So again, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for staying subscribed. Send me your email, geeknews@gmail.com. I'll be back with you on Monday for the next to the last video show out of the Honolulu studio. It's been my pleasure being a show. We'll see you next time, everyone. Take care. Aloha.